Racism is a system. It's like all the other isms. Capitalism, sexism.
Yeah.
If you're a racist, you believe in the system of white supremacy and upholding that.
This right here, this is the face of the conservative pick-me. Is all these black people running around regurgitating terrible talking points that they get from conservatives, another group of people who don't understand race at all. So let's hear how this conservative pick-me gets race wrong terribly.
We'll start with that first lie, saying that racism is inherently a system because of the ism suffix.
You lying on the woman. The woman said racism, like other isms, is a system. She never made the claim that racism was a system because you put ism on it.
When words have ism as their suffix, it denotes a distinctive practice, system, or philosophy.
System, like she said, so she's not wrong even with your definition, but continue.
Typically a political ideology or an artistic movement. So while words with ism can be a system,
Like race, ism,
like capitalism, words like cannibalism and racism refer to a practice, not a system. And this is clearly evident because if racism referred to a system, then the phrase systemic racism would not exist.
racism isn't considered a system because it's ism on the end. Race is a system that orders and categorizes people based on their phenotype, skin tone, etc. in this society.
Also, if you just read the definition of the word,
I'm gonna tell y'all right now, anytime you having an intellectual conversation and somebody tells you just read the definition, they only have an elementary, base level, surface level understanding of what y'all about to discuss.
or does it mention a system of power being inherent to the concept, and it even explicitly states that racism can be enacted by an individual.
What we know about the system of race that we have now is that it was introduced in a book called The Systems of Nature by a scientist or taxonomist by the name of Carl Linnaeus. Reflecting on his religious belief in this thing that he calls a chain of being that's ordered by God, as he said, he classified Homo sapiens hierarchically into 4 groups: Europaeus, Americanus, Asiaticus, and Afir, color-coded white, red, yellow, and black. The dictionary definition ignores the social ordering aspect that race was introduced into American society to organize.
And when you take a look at a word like feminism, this entire logic of ism words referring to a system of power just falls apart.
It doesn't, bro, not even with the definition you used. Ism could mean a system or an ideology. Racism refers to a system. Feminism refers to an ideology. This is bad.
If in capitalism, the capitalists have the power in the system, and in racism, the racists have the power, does that mean that in feminism, the feminists have the power in the system?
Yes. If there was a feminist system, that means that feminists would be in control of that system. That's not a hard question to answer, bro.
So no, racism doesn't have to be a system, even though it can be.
If it can be a system, then what are you arguing with her about? If it can be a system, what is your beef with her saying that it's a system?
The motives for trying to claim that racism can only be done by people who are white or in power seems to me to be rooted in some kind of devious desire for revenge.
Where did that part even come from? Nothing he said previously in his challenge to what she said about isms and his definition of racism. Now you're just throwing shit at the wall to see what stick. You're fishing for talking points to kiss conservative ass and you looking bad doing it. Because even with her definition, yes, racism can be internalized. We internalize the systems. Black people, like yourself, can also engage in forms of anti-blackness, especially when you're trying to ingratiate yourself with white conservatives.
You want the ability to be hateful or prejudiced, but still be able to morally justify it since you no longer have defined it as racism. But no matter what tactics of mental gymnastics you use, being hateful is still wrong, and being prejudiced to others on the basis of their skin color, regardless of what that skin color is still racism.
What's sad about that is he's chastising black people for our response to racism and by saying hate is bad, but not calling out the racism. That is the definition of conservative pick-me. I'm going to look for opportunities to regurgitate white talking points regardless of how much sense it makes, regardless of how anti-intellectual it is. Lizzo made a great point, and then instead of exposing lies on her behalf, you just made yourself look hella stupid.